Hi there, Morganite, and today we're talking about the new Morganite cards that just got officially announced. So yeah, let's get into it. So, if you don't know what a Morganite card is a normal spell card that has 3 different effects that affect how you play your rest of the duel. First up, you got Restriction, that being that you can't activate monster effects from the hand. Then you get 2 bonus effects that help you out for the duel, as well as a graveyard effect. So let's talk about them. First up, we got Time Tearing Morganite. For the rest of the duel, apply these effects. First, you can't activate monster effects in the hand. We just talked about that. As for the 2 effects that actually benefit you, you can draw 2 cards instead of 1 for your normal draw phase, and you can conduct 2 normal summons and sets per turn, not just 1. This card is great for like your stall decks, your stun decks. Simply put, it means that you can like outpace your opponent by drawing more cards than them, which means that you're able to put more negates onto the field. And by conducting 2 normal summons, you can do things like, I don't know, put 2 barrier statues on the field or something, you know? Now, Time Tearing Morganite also has a graveyard effect. By banishing itself from the graveyard, then discarding 1 Time Tearing Morganite from your hand, your opponent can't activate monster effects when you normal summon that turn. This was good in like decks like Floowandereeze, for example. Right, up next we got Succumbing Song Morganite. Can't activate monster effects in the hand for the rest of the duel, but for the rest of the duel, your monsters can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, and if your monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent monster, it's doubled. Huge card. Now, this card's a bit different to Time Tearing Morganite. Time Tearing Morganite's pretty much built for a more stun control deck. This one's built for more like an attacking deck, you know? Plus, the restriction that you can't activate monster effects in hand doesn't exactly matter, because you're only really going to be activating this card when you know you got game. You put all the monsters you want on the field, you activate Succumbing Song Morganite, go into the battle phase. You no longer need to activate monster effects at that point, you're just going to attack for game. Now this effect also a little bit underrated. Double battle damage on monsters is good, people underestimate that. Doing 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase is good. People underestimate that as well, because that's like, you know, one of the primary forms of monster removal. So being able to clear like your opponent's whole monster board by using only a couple of monsters is great. And if it does double battle damage, then you're lowering their life points even more. Succumbing Song Morganite's graveyard effect is that you can banish it from the graveyard to add 1 Morganite card from deck to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand to above the deck. How people usually run this is you'd play 3 Succumbing Song Morganites and 1 Time Tearing Morganite. 4 copies of Time Tearing Morganite in your deck that you're able to search. So yeah, that's the old stuff. Let's look at the new stuff. So yeah, first up we got another spell card, Guilt Gripping Morganite. For the rest of the duel, you know you can't activate monster effects in the hand. That's good. If they all have the same restriction, you can just play them all in the same deck. Just don't activate monster effects in the hand. You know, I probably should have talked about this earlier. So basically, things like your hand traps, can't activate hand traps. Your bestials, which activate in hand to special summon onto the field, can't activate those either. What you can do, is you can use monsters like your kaijus. These don't activate, they just plop on the opponent's field by tributing one of their monsters. So you know, you can still use a lot of different effects from the hand, just not any activated monster effects. So what does this card do? You can normal summon level 5 or higher monsters without tributing. Doesn't sound that good in a vacuum. However, with the other Morganite cards, it's pretty good. Like look at Time Tearing Morganite, you get 2 normal summons. So now, you can just normal summon 2 level 5 or higher monsters without tributing. What cards would you want to summon? Well, if you're playing like a stall deck, you're looking at like your Majesty cards, right? So you got like your Vanity's Fiend, can't even special summon, neither player can special summon monsters. 2400 attack. Majesty's Fiend, 2400 attack, neither player can activate monster effects. Or, your Vanity's Ruler, 2500 attack, your opponent can't special summon monsters. This one here, probably is the one that people are going to play, right? Just restricting your opponent from doing anything. If you're playing a trap deck, then you also want to include Majesty's Fiend, because your chances are you're not really going to be activating many monster effects, you're just going to be like, you know, putting traps on the field. If you're doing something like Paleozoic, the Paleozoic cards are unaffected by monster effects. I don't know if that's activated. Just unaffected by monster effects. Okay, yeah, that's good. What about the Xyz? Yeah, and the Xyz are unaffected by other monster effects. So as long as you're able to, like, you know, special summon a monster, which you can on the Vanity's Ruler, you can also put Majesty's Fiend on the field, and you're still able to, like, you know, activate your monster effects, because these guys are unaffected. So yeah, that works out for, like, you know, if you're doing like a stun strategy, or a stun or stall strategy. If you want to combo off I don't know, played in Blue Eyes or something, right? Just, you know, like Blue Eyes, they break a lot. You know, you got level 8 Blue Eyes in your hand, can't do anything else. Guild gripping, just put it on the field. There are a few XE strategies that involve higher level monsters. While these days, like, you're looking at like the canine stuff, I believe they just special summon from hand. You got older decks that don't exactly rely on that. Look at like, I guess generators maybe? Gimmick puppets. I don't know if these archetypes activate monster effects from the hand. But if they don't, you know, you can just use them to like put these monsters on the field without actually having to like jump through a few hoops. Or like if you get bricked. However, I believe people are going to be playing this for the second effect. You do not pay life points to activate spell trap cards. This is huge if you're going to be running like your Solemn cards. We're talking about Solemn Judgment. When a monster would be summoned or a spell trap card is activated, pay half your life points, then you negate the summon or activation of that card, and if you do, destroy it. Now Solemn Judgment doesn't cost anything. Solemn Warning doesn't cost anything. Solemn Strike, again, doesn't cost anything. The Solemn cards are now free real estate, you can just activate them. Stall decks are just eating good with this card. There are other cards, however, that you can use it with. None that I can think of off the top of my head. They're out there. They're out there. Let's see if we can just find one. Here, you can use Wildfire. Pay 500 life points, destroy Blaze Accelerator cards you control. And if you do, destroy as many monsters on the field, then special summon a Wildfire token in attack position. Volcanics. Volcanics can be... Right, yeah, nah, like, you know, just look for the keyword pain, look for your spell traps. If there's anything that works with you, you can just, like, use it. Archfiend's Roar, I guess. Wasn't this card banned? Alright, yeah, no, don't play Wall of Revealing Light. Because, you know, if you're not paying life points, then technically all monsters your opponent control can attack. So, that one, yeah, nah, don't play that. I guess Iron Thunder, that's another, like, counter trap you can use. It's a trade-off with Solemn Judgment because you can destroy stuff in the same column. That's decent. Chaos Trap Hole, where a Lion Dark Monster would be summoned, pay 2,000 life points, negate the summon of the Lion Dark Monsters if you banish them. Can be good there. But we're going off topic. Yeah, so that's Guilt Gripping. Also got the Graveyard effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then reveal one Morganite card in your hand, place the revealed card on the bottom of your deck, then draw a card. Like, it's okay. Like, this card, it's okay in a vacuum, but like, within the greater Morganite engine, you know, it's a decent card. We also got one other new card to show off. Morgana, the Witch of Eyes. Level 4 Dark Spellcaster effect monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense. Those right there, they're Visa stats. We'll talk about that a bit later when we get around to, like, you know, good synergies and cards, but like, keep that in the back of your mind. This card's always treated as a Morganite card. That's good. So now you can search it with Self-Succumbing Morganite, put it on the bottom of your deck and draw a card with your Guilt Gripping Morganite. It's just a good card. Like, it's a good effect to have on the card. The first and third of these cards' effects are once per turn. So yeah, once per turn, if this card's normal or special summon, you can add a Morganite spell card from your deck to your hand. Okay, so that's the second search you got right there. So you'll go Morgana into Song Succumbing Morganite. Song Succumbing then activates, puts itself into the graveyard, activates in the graveyard, banishing itself. So you grab another Morganite card, and then placing another card from your hand into the bottom of the deck. Whichever one you want, either Time Tearing or Guilt Gripping, whichever one you don't have in your hand, or whichever one can make your combos go off. Second effect, so remember this one isn't once per turn. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish a Morganite spell from your graveyard to negate that attack. Again, not once per turn. Chances are you won't really have that many Morganite cards in your graveyard. At most 2, because you're probably going to be banishing the Song Succumbing Morganite so you can get that search. And the third effect, if you have 3 or more Morganite spell cards with different names in your graveyard, or banishment, you can make the attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls to 0. Now that isn't to the end of turn, that's permanent. What does this mean? If you're trying to play with this effect, play more Time Tearing, play more Guilt Gripping Morganite. At the moment, I reckon like the best engine for like a Morganite deck would be 3 Morgana, 3 Song Succumbing, 1 Guilt Gripping, 1 Time Tearing. But like, you know, play around with those depending on like which deck you're using. For example, if you're playing like Floowandereeze, have more Time Tearing Morganite, just so you got that normal summon protection. If you're after like Runic, which like, you know, requires runic cards in your hand. Probably playing more Guilt Gripping. That way you can like, you know, get more draws happening. You know, stuff like that. And let's talk about like, you know, this effect in particular. Within a Morganite deck, you're going to have Songs coming online more times than not. Which means you're going to be dealing double battle damage and double attacks onto your opponent's monsters. If they've got 2 monsters on the field, you can attack both of those monsters with 0 attack and deal double battle damage. So that's 3,000 on one, 3,000 on another for 6,000 damage total. Which means all you need is another monster with 1,000 attack if your monster's got a 3rd monster on the field, or another monster with 2,000 attack if they don't, to attack for gain. If you're playing a stall version of this deck, like, that's just a barrier statue, right? Which you can do because, again, Time Tearing Morganite gives you 2 normal summons. And yeah, that's game. So yeah, now we're going to talk about, like, you know, a few synergies and whatnot. So yeah, we already talked about, like, the vanity stuff. If you're playing stall, you can play these cards. But I'm going to be talking more about fun here. First up, we got the Mannadiums. 3 of your Mannadium cards, they all have the same effect, right? If you control Vis's Starfrost, or a monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense, you can special summon this card from your hand. This is not an activated effect, so it works on the Morganite. And remember, 1500 attack and 2100 defense is what Morgana is at. So yeah, you can just summon out your Mannadium cards. Which one you can't summon out is Ruin Heart though, because this is an activated effect. During the main phase quick effect, target 1 Mannadium monster you control, or 1 monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. Can't special summon out this card using, you know, its own effect, but you do get an additional normal summon if you're playing Time Tearing Morganite. So, you know, you can still bring this card out. Which is good, because when it's normal special summon, you can add a Mannadium card from your deck to your hand, except for like another copy of itself. So yeah, Mannadiums, they're pretty good. Also got their Synchro monsters. Prime Heart only needs 1 tuner and a light monster. It can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of tuners used for its Synchro summon. I think its own ability overrides the Coming Song's Morganite ability to grant extra attacks. Because the Coming Song says your monsters can make up to 2 attacks on monsters. And this overrides that by being able to grant either 2 attacks by itself, or 3 attacks if you use, like, you know, more tuners for it. So yeah, you won't get the extra attacks, but you still will get the double battle damage. Plus, like, you know, if the Synchro Summon Prime Heart leaves the field because of our opponent's card, you can special summon one of your monsters with 1500 attack and 2100 defense that's banished in your graveyard. Which means you get your Morgana back. Which means you get another search for a Morganite card. You know, it all works out. Got this one, Absention. Target 1 monster you control and destroy it. And if you do, add your field spell. Or if you already control that field spell, Peaceful Planet Calarium, you can add a Mannadium spell trap from your deck instead. You can also banish Abscission from your graveyard to special summon a Vis's Starfrost, or 1 monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense from your hand. Might be able to use that to special summon out another Morgana. Got Realm Resonance, just special summon 1 monster with 1500 attack or 2100 defense from your graveyard. Done. Yeah, okay, that's just a monster reborn for your Morgana. That can be okay. Mannadium Breakheart. If Vis's Starfrost or a monster with 1500 attack or 2100 defense you control will be destroyed by a battle card effect, banish this card from your graveyard instead. Yeah, you got protection now for your Morgana. And Reframing. When a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated while you control a Synchro monster, negate the activation, then you have Vis's Starfrost or a monster with 1500 attack or 2100 defense on your field or in your graveyard, you can destroy that negated card. You know how we were saying you can like play your judgments? If you're playing like our Vis's deck, oh, not even a Vis's deck, if you're just playing like a Synchro deck and you throw a Morgana in the graveyard, either as Synchro material or, you know, just because, yeah, this thing negates and destroys our spell, trap card, or monster effect. Nice. So another archetype in the Vis's eye, you're looking at like your Scareclaws. It's a non-activated special summon from hand. You can special summon this card from your hand to a monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw monster you control or in its column. And yeah, all of the Scareclaws have this. You can make yourself like a Lightheart, which when summoned can add a Primitive Planet Rakphobia from your deck to hand, which is like the Scareclaw field spell. Right here. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Scareclaw monster or a Vis's Starfrost from your deck to your hand. Also, your opponent's monsters lose 100 attack and defense for each defensive position monster on the field. Scareclaws kind of like summon themselves out in defense position, and their boss monster forces monsters on both sides of the field into defense position. If there are 3 or more monsters on the field in defense position, You can target one card your opponent controls and you can destroy it. Here's their boss monster, Tryhard. All face-up monsters on the field are changed to defense position. And it's unaffected by the activated defense of monsters in defense position. So yeah, that's good. And it can also like special summon out Scareclaw monsters from the grave. And add a Scareclaw monster from deck to hand as well. Oh, that's nice. What else are we looking at? Right, the Kashtira cards, right? Again, not activate the special summon from hand. If you control no monsters, you can just plop this card out on the field. Fenrir can search for another Kashtira monster and add it to hand. And it can also, either on attack or after your opponent activates a monster effect, target one face-up card your opponent controls and banish it face down. Ogre can search for a Kashtira trap to add from deck to hand. And either on its battling or after an opponent activates a monster effect, can look at the top 5 cards from your opponent's deck and banish one of them face down. And then put the cards back on the same order. Kashtira Unicorn. During your main phase, can add a Kashtira spell card from deck to hand. And when it declares an attack or an opponent's monster activates a monster effect, look at your opponent's extra deck and banish one monster from it face down. We all know the Kashtira cards. You know, they've been pretty good for years now. Got their field spell, that doesn't really do anything in the Morganite side of things. I'm just saying that, like, you know, you can play the Kashtira cards as well with Morganite. Simply because, you know, they can special summon themselves from their hand without having an activated monster effect. There's also Kashtira Overlap, which you can search for using Unicorn. Target one monster on the field, banish one monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense from your hand, your graveyard, or face up on either field, and if you do, the targeted monster gains 1500 attack. You know, that's decent. That actually is great. If you've, like, you know, summoned out, let's say, Unicorn, normal summon out Morgana grabs Succumbing Song Morganite, then you can use your Kashtira Unicorn to grab Kashtira Overlap. Activate Succumbing Song Morganite, so now, you know, you get the double damage. Activate this card, then you banish the Morgana. You're able to attack twice with your Unicorn at 4000, 4000. If you attack into like 2 monsters with less than 2000 attack, that's game. If you're able to dump more Morganite cards into the graveyard, you can activate the effect of Morgana first to make all your opponent's monsters have 0 attack. That's game. We should also look at Kashtira Birth as well, just real quick. You can normal summon level 7 monsters without tributing. If you're playing with Kashtira, you can play Birth, simply because, like, you know, it's got other effects on it. Able to, like, banish cards from your opponent's graveyard face down. You can also play Guilt Gripping Morganite, so if your opponent destroys your Birth, you can still just normal summon level 7 monsters without tributing them. And if you play Time Tearing Morganite, you can special summon out one of your Kashtira monsters first, activate Time Tearing Morganite, and then if you got Birth on the field, you can then normal summon 2 other Kashtira monsters. You know, you can do things. You can do things with these cards. Up next, we're going to be talking about the Gate Guardians. Monsters can't attack to turn they're summoned, except for monsters whose original level is level 5 or higher. We don't even have to look at level 4 monsters anymore. Guilt Gripping Morganite can make it so you can just summon out level 5 or higher monsters without tributing. So yeah, let's just do that. And now we're unaffected by our own field spell, which is great. All the pieces for the Gate Guardian cards are level 7 monsters. Kazejin, Suijin, Sangha of the Thunder, all level 7 monsters. You can summon out them with Guilt Gripping Morganite. You can summon multiple times using Time Tearing Morganite. And, you know, if you have all of them on the field or in the graveyard or in your hand, you can just banish them all to bring out, you know, the big guy. Gate Guardians combined. Which, you know, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card you control, quick effect, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. And you can use this effect like 3 times per turn. One of the few cards that activates thrice per turn. Which is fun, you know. However, I'd argue there's a better card you can make. Gate Guardian of Water and Thunder. Once per chain, but twice per turn, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change its attack to 0 until the end of the turn. That's right, this is just Morgana's effect, but so much easier to pull off. Because again, you only need 2 monsters. And if you're using Succumbing Song Morganite, you get the 2 attacks plus the double battle damage. That's 5100, 5100. That's game easy. We got more Blue Eye support, which means, yeah, searching for Chaos Form, searching for Chaos Max, so much easier now. So yeah, if you don't know, Chaos Max can't be targeted with card effects and can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. If it attacks a defense position monster, it inflicts double piercing damage to your opponent. If your opponent has a monster with less than 2000 defense, and you attack into it with Chaos Max while under the effects of Succumbing Song Morganite, that's game. You've won. Basically, play any monsters that like do piercing damage. Floowandereeze and Snow can do that as well. While this tribute summon card is in the monster zone, if your monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. You can do things with Flu, play Book of the Eclipse, Karma Cannon, Book of Moon. Make sure you flip your opponent's monster to face down defense position. So yeah, now you can just attack, with double piercing damage with like your Flu monsters. Because now like gives all your monsters piercing damage, you now attack with like all your like decently sized winged beast monsters. Looking at Empen, Apex Avian, Riser, the whole lot of them. So yeah, that's nice. And yeah, I believe that's all of them. Have fun with it. If you feel like going along with Stun, by all means go ahead. If you feel like going with something more fun, a few of these strategies are, what I'll be looking into. Mannadium, Scareclaw, Kashtira, Blue Eyes, Flu, Gate Guardian. And yeah, hopefully, they release more Morganite cards soon. Hopefully, we'll be able to see some Morganite cards like, topping in a YCS or something. That would be fun for me. I like that. And yeah, catch you next time. Bye.